I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry. And today I'm going to talk to you about another film that came out back in 2011, Gerard Butler and Machine Gun Preacher. It's a story about, true story, based on a man named Samuel Childers, a biker gang who's just got out of prison from when the movie starts, changes his life around in a way of helping the unfortunate circumstances that are happening in Africa, where he becomes somewhat of a, I wouldn't say necessarily of a freedom fighter, which he does, somewhat of a mercenary freedom fighter, but also trying to rebuild a community there by creating a church, a little village for kids to avoid from being kidnapped, murdered, and killed and raped, and a very strong film. And this film is one of my favorite Gerard Butler performances. One of my favorite movies of his, to be honest with you. And the reason for that, you see this guy, when the movie starts, you see this guy act vile, act selfish, act just complete asshole right when he gets out of prison. The movie starts the movie literally starts when you first see the character Sam Childers. You see him getting out of prison, seeing his wife again, making up, kissing, and seeing his daughter for who knows how long. Already starts acting like a complete a-hole by telling his wife that she needs to go back working at the strip club, making more money, going back, telling her mom to get out of the house, and making his child very scared of him. And then he goes back out, pretty much doing the same criminal activities, assumingly he used to do, that got him in prison. And he stumbles upon a revelation, or I would say not a revelation, a crisis of, like, I'm doing the same thing over again. I need some help, to his wife. So he goes to church and gets reborn, becomes a devoted Christian in a way, and he suddenly has a epiphany, or a sign by God to tell him he needs to go to Africa to help the innocents, the children there, and that's where he kind of takes off, where he convinces his family, like, hey, I feel like God is telling me to do this. I need to do this. And he goes out there building churches, building a little community for the kids to be safe at. Then they get torn down by the LRA and the this film's amazing. It's pretty inspirational when you look at it, where you see a guy who's pretty much just a broken and lost man when you see in this film. Michael Shannon's also in this. He plays his buddy, where he's also kind of in a sham. And you see this guy go through phases in his life to where he rethinks the actions of what he's done. And when he converts to Christianity and feels like he is given a calling, you see the importance of this calling that this man Sam Childers feels like he has to go to Africa to help these children who are in the worst situations that he's ever been. And you see the effort and honestly the horrors that he witnesses there, where he constantly feels like he's not doing enough. The character is also driven by greed. So if it's greed from drugs, to greed to feeling like he has to put so much money into this orphanage he's trying to build and this little community to save the children. You see the obsession and the greed and the urge that he displays on screen. And Gerard Butler's freaking great. I think he's underrated. I don't think he's given a lot of credit, especially when it comes to physically demanding action roles. He delivers a lot of dramatic vibes to it. And I don't think he gets enough attention. Not enough attention in this film. Not enough in Law Abiding Citizens. This film is like a action film for Christians, to be honest with you. Now, this is actually right up my alley. And you don't see movies like this anymore. Unfortunately, I will put this into like those white savior movies. You know what they would call it, but yeah, it is. But it's more along the lines of a man who's gone through stuff, who's done some evil things, suddenly realizes that and tries to turn his life around and tries to be a hero to a lot of people. And you see the internal struggle he faces dealing with people, dealing with trying to... There's scenes that involves the church where he expresses his beliefs, the things he's seen over in Africa. You see that this guy is tormented by what he's witnessed. And you see the desperation. He deliberately tries to get whatever resources he can, even sacrificing the resources he has for his own home, to help these people in the film. And which is also a tragic sense, but is also an inspiration at the same time, by you seeing a guy who's constantly sacrificing so much of what he has to try to do good. And to be honest, that's a real life hero, and something inspirational you don't normally see or normally hear. And it's actually, I don't recall ever hearing this back in 2011. I think this happened. I think the movie takes place in 2003, and I think it goes to maybe 2000. I think it goes through like 2003 to 2009 or 2010. Because as the movie kind of plays out, based on the age of his daughter in the film, I think you see her like at 4 years old. Then you see her kind of in high school. So it spans, I think, from maybe a good 10 years or close, because the movie came out 2011. I think around there. So I thought this film was amazing, to be honest with you. Actually, I think it's my second time rewatching it. It's been a while. It's available on HBO Max, or you can also rent it on YouTube. This is severely one of those better trope movies that I mentioned earlier. Like one of the better ones, the best one, I would say. And one of the best Gerard Butler's performance I've seen. And a good action. This is probably, like I said, the closest action film I would say for Christians that would really enjoy. If you've seen Machine Gun Preacher, comment below. Let me know if you have seen it, what you thought about it, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie.